A former BC actor who his own mother has been sentenced to life in prison.
With the fanfare and influence that comes with the celebrity lifestyle, it's easy for one caught in it to feel shielded from certain consequences. However, there are times when the crime gets so serious that not even the deep pockets and influential contacts can save you. There have been a lot of celebrities who have been caught in the consequences of their actions and are now serving life in various prisons. Their stories are quite shocking and often transcend what anyone would have imagined about some of the stars, who were quite loved and followed by many. This sheds light on the dark part of the entertainment industry, where stars often turn into figures that are quite irreconcilable with their on-screen persona. Care to learn more about some of the very shocking stories? Just stick around and the last one on this list will shock you. Number 10. Harrison Norris Jr. Harrison Norris Jr. was a professional wrestler who briefly yet memorably worked in World Championship Wrestling during the late 1990s under the ring name of Hardbody Harrison. Norris had served in the U.S. Army before entering the ring, where he developed strength and discipline to supplement his athletic career. In WCW, he played the character of a heel, but his time in wrestling was not long because the company closed down in the year 2001. Of course, after Norris had retired from wrestling into other pursuits, life truly started to darken for him. In 2007, he was found guilty of operating a sex trafficking ring involving helpless women. It was discovered that Norris would normally promise women to train them as professional wrestlers and then hold them captive, subsequently forcing them into prostitution. He kept the terror in them with beatings and manipulations. Norris had been indicted on counts of human trafficking, forced labor, and conspiracy in court, and his trial brought to light a shocking pattern of abuse and coercion. The court found that he enslaved and brutalized the women under his control, treating them as commodities in a criminal enterprise. It was even found that sometimes he had moved some of these women beyond state lines, indulging them in prostitution. For this, Norris received life imprisonment without parole. His conviction was among the harshest sentences in human trafficking cases in the United States, and brought into perspective the horrors of modern-day slavery. And if you think this was way out of line, just wait till we get to the next one on the list. Number 9. Michael Jace. Michael Jace is an American actor who is best known for his role as Officer Julian Lowe on the television series The Shield. He had a good run throughout the 1990s, both in film and on TV. He appeared actively in Law & Order, Forrest Gump, Boogie Nights, and Planet of the Apes. In The Shield, his acting skills were recognized for playing a conflicted character, particularly a conservative religious police officer battling his sexuality. Despite the successes on screen, Jace's personal life was wild and finally led to a tragic crime. Jace was arrested on May 19, 2014, for the murder of his wife, April Jace. In a fit of rage, he shot her multiple times in their Los Angeles home while their 2 young sons were present. The subsequent investigation unwound a case of marital problems between the couple, and Jace had been facing financial troubles and personal issues before committing the crime. Also, following the issues that had been going on at home before the murder, his son's testimony in court compounded his case and eliminated any chance to wiggle free from the consequences of his action. In court, Jace acknowledged shooting his wife, stating he did not deliberately plan the act. The court convicted him of second-degree murder in 2016, which gave him 40 years to life in prison. The sensational Hollywood murder and conviction of this mild-tempered actor brought his once promising career in the entertainment arena to a close. Jace is spending his time in a correctional facility in California State. Number 8. Keith Wright, former NFL defensive tackle. Keith Wright's NFL playing career was just short-lived. He has been a part of the Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Arizona Cardinals. Wright was selected in the 2003 NFL Draft, but he could never make it big for himself, hence switching between teams and practice squads during his very short professional football career. He retired and began to coach and mentor, wanting to serve as an inspiration to young, upcoming athletes. However, his legacy was soon to take a hit, destroying whatever image he had built. Wright's life after football took a turn for the worse and into crime. In 2011, he was arrested and charged with several felonies, including armed robbery, kidnapping, and burglary. The crimes were committed in the Sacramento area. Wright and some accomplices invaded homes, tying up victims while stealing such things as jewelry and electronics. In one incident, residents were taken hostage by Wright and his cohorts, who held them at gunpoint and then disappeared. These brutal acts sent the community reeling in astonishment and contrasted quite ironically with the nice guy image that had been painted of Wright as an athlete. In 2012, Wright was convicted on 19 counts against him, including home invasion, armed robbery, and several cases of sexual assault, which were targeted at his victims. Sentenced to 234 years to life for his part in the violent crime spree, his conviction brought a screeching halt to a life once filled with promise in the world of professional sports. Today, Wright sits in a California state prison, serving his sentence without parole. His takedowns also serve as blunt reminders that bad decisions can quickly destroy a good life. And speaking of sexual assault, the next case also took a really ugly turn. Number 7. Danny Masterson. Danny Masterson is easily one of the most recognizable figures on television thanks to his role in the hit sitcom That 70s Show, which started its run in 1998 and ended its course in 2006. He gained widespread popularity because during the run of this series he played the laid-back, sullen Stephen Hyde, one of the most famous characters in television comedy. His acting career continued on shows like Men at Work and The Ranch. He was also a DJ, mainly in Los Angeles nightlife, under his DJ name DJ Mom Jeans. However, Masterson's career came crashing down when several women accused him of sexual assault. In 2017, several women, some former members of the Church of Scientology, accused Masterson of having drugged and then raped them in the early 2000s. The accusations then led to a formal investigation, and Masterson being charged with 3 counts of rape by force or fear in 2020. Disturbing testimony from the victims told of the assaults by Masterson while unable even to defend themselves in his trial. This led to most of the cases being thrown out of court, but the few that stuck really did a lot of damage to Masterson. Despite the wide-range denial by Masterson and support by the Church of Scientology, it was an overwhelming case. In 2023, Masterson was convicted on 2 counts of rape, with the jury deadlocked on the 3rd charge. He received a sentence of 30 years to life in prison for that. The conviction had shut the curtain on his acting career and shed light on issues of sexual abuse and protection of influential circles in Hollywood. Masterson serves his sentence in a California state prison, a huge fall from being one of the favorite TV stars. The next case even takes the heat up a notch. Number 6. Eric Naposki. Eric Naposki was a former professional football player who gained limited fame in the NFL during the late 1980s and early 1990s. He played linebacker for teams like the New England Patriots and the Indianapolis Colts. Still having a relatively short-lived NFL career, he would continue playing in the World League of American Football, WLAF, as it was previously known. After retiring from football, Naposki ventured into other areas such as private security. However, it seemed life wasn't yet done with Eric, as he would later make the news much later in a very sad turn of events. Things in life only took a turn for the worse when he was implicated in a high-profile murder case. In 1994, millionaire businessman Bill McLaughlin was shot dead in his Newport Beach, California home. For over a decade, the case was unsolved until new evidence linked Naposki with the crime. It came up that Naposki was romantically involved with McLaughlin's girlfriend, Nanette Johnston, who stood to gain millions from McLaughlin's estate. Prosecutors say Naposki and Eric Napoleon Johnston conspired to kill McLaughlin for financial gain. Naposki used his job at the time, being a security guard, to access and commit the crime and cover up his tracks. Though Naposki maintained innocence in the crime, evidence showed he had the means and motive to commit the crime. In 2011, Naposki was convicted of first-degree murder, almost 17 years after the killing. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. His conviction and that of Johnston brought closure to one of Southern California's most notorious cold cases. Naposki's once bright career in sports was reduced to just another convict involved in a deadly conspiracy. And this brings us to the next case. Number 5. Tim Norman. Tim Norman gained much of his fame from the reality series Welcome to Sweetie Pies. The show chronicled his family, especially his mother, Robbie Montgomery, who started Sweetie Pies, a soul food restaurant chain based in St. Louis, Missouri. Norman, being in the show, got involved in managing the family business and went ahead to become a personality in the reality TV world. He was portrayed as an ambitious entrepreneur, helping to extend the restaurant brand. Sadly, Norman's life took a whole different turn when he was implicated in a murder-for-hire plot. He had been arrested in 2020 and charged with the murder of his nephew, Andre Montgomery, back in 2016. Authorities revealed that Norman had taken a life insurance policy out on Andre for $450,000 and conspired with others to have him killed to collect the money. Co-conspirators who aided Norman in the crime included an insurance agent who helped him create the fake policy and a woman who lured Andre to the home where he was shot to death. Prosecutors argued Norman concocted a plot because he was facing financial difficulties and wanted easy money. Following a remarkably sensational trial in 2022, Norman was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder for hire and mail fraud. He was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole in 2023. The whole sensational case sent shockwaves to both the fans and the general public when Norman's image of a good son and businessman crumbled before the revelation of such a heinous crime. He is serving his sentence now, thus leaving behind a marred legacy. It's just surprising how far people are willing to go sometimes, and the story even gets crazier. Number 4. Cory Miller. By the late 1990s, Cory Miller was known as C-Murder and became an artist in his own right, gaining fame for his rapping and songwriting skills on the back of No Limit Records, his brother Master P's venture. He was one of the leading acts within the Southern hip-hop movement and released several commercially successful albums, such as Life or Death and Bossolini. C-Murder's lyrics bespoke harsh realities of street life and were some of the reasons why New Orleans rap became hot. His music made him lots of fans, and, at the height of his genre, he was one of the most popular figures in the genre. However, things went south along the line and his music career took a back seat when he became involved in a fatal incident within a nightclub. In 2002, Steve Thomas, then a teenager, died from shots fired in a nightclub fight in Harvey, Louisiana. Witnesses identified the shooter as C-Murder, who was arrested and later convicted of second-degree murder in 2009. The court proved him guilty, depending on the witness statements and evidence presented, notwithstanding his pleas of innocence and the fact that his popularity made him an easy target for the prosecution. He received a life sentence without parole, which has been highly debated over the years that have gone by. His advocates, including celebrity social activists such as Kim Kardashian, have noted a number of what they perceive as injustices with the trial, including the possible coercion of witnesses and the lack of direct evidence. C-Murder is in prison, while his case appeal remains ongoing. It is interesting that he has remained popular with his dedicated fan base while incarcerated, and his case has become one symbol of perceived injustices in the legal system. Only time will tell if he is innocent, assuming new pieces of evidence turn up. Number 3. Ronald Herron. Ronald Herron was an aspiring rapper out of Brooklyn, New York, gathering his underground hip-hop following before adopting the rap name R.A. Diggs. Much of his music reflected the brutal realities of life in Brooklyn, highlighting some of his personal challenges, which resonated with people who related to the gritty, raw storytelling. Diggs was also affiliated with the Bloods gang and used his music and medium to create an image of street credibility and toughness, bragging about his criminal lifestyle. However, his career was cut short when he was arrested and charged with a series of violent crimes. In 2012, federal prosecutors linked Diggs to a drug-dealing operation and multiple murders. He was said to have been running a violent drugs gang in the Gowanus housing projects and to have used his music and online presence to intimidate rivals and hold on to his turf. The government built a case against him, thereby linking Diggs to 3 murders, attempted murder, drug trafficking, and racketeering. His social media posts and lyrics were used to prove his involvement in the execution of the crimes. In 2014, Diggs was convicted on the following counts: murder, racketeering, and drug trafficking. He received a life sentence without parole. It was a case that put the spotlight on the connection of rap music with street crime. Diggs' lyrics played a crucial role in his conviction. From promise and talent to serving as an example of what could go wrong with the glorification of violence and crime, Diggs spends his days in lockup, serving his sentence in a federal prison. The next case also points more to the dark and hidden side of the entertainment industry, which was also behind one of the biggest movements in the United States in recent history. Number 2. Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein is a film producer and used to be one of the most powerful people in Hollywood. He co-founded Miramax Films with his brother Bob Weinstein and then proceeded to co-found the Weinstein Company, producing one critically praised and commercially successful film after another, including Pulp Fiction, Shakespeare in Love, and The King's Speech. But in 2017, several women made allegations of sexual misconduct against Weinstein, which put his career on ice. Those events spurred the #MeToo movement and many other stories that came forward about powerful men in the entertainment industry. In May 2018, Weinstein was arrested and charged with rape, sexual assault, among other offenses. The case was based on allegations from several women, including former actresses who accused Weinstein of raping or sexually assaulting them in hotel rooms while purporting the meetings were business-related. Detailed testimony and accounts from numerous victims described a pattern of coercive behavior against him. In February 2020, Weinstein was convicted of rape and criminal sexual act in the first degree. He was sentenced to 23 years in prison. In addition, he is facing further charges in Los Angeles based on other allegations. If convicted, sentencing would be added to his sentence. Considering his age, it's highly unlikely that Weinstein will be making it out of prison in his lifetime. Weinstein's fall was the milestone in the crusade against sexual harassment and assault that underlines systemic problems throughout Hollywood and greater society. His case has indeed triggered change and increased awareness of consent, power dynamics, and accountability on behalf of those in authority. The impact of the movement ignited by this case is still being felt in the industry, leading to more sinister discoveries. Number 1. William Hayden. Ex-shop owner and star of the reality TV show Sons of Guns, William Hayden has been in serious legal trouble for a long time. The Discovery Channel reality TV show from 2011 to 2014 followed Hayden and his crew making custom firearms, thus giving him a following among gun enthusiasts. In 2014, however, things took a turn for the worse, as Hayden was arrested on multiple counts of rape, with disturbing allegations of long-time abuse against his daughter and other minors. As the investigators started to investigate the claims, more victims came forward, resulting in a full inquiry into Hayden's activities over several years. Hayden denied the charges against him, and ironclad evidence presented against him did not save him from conviction. He was convicted in 2017 of 2 counts of aggravated rape and 1 count of forcible rape upon the testimony of the victims. The court gave him 2 life sentences without parole eligibility and 40 more years for the other offenses. Hayden's conviction sealed his fate for the end of his freedom and simultaneously axed Sons of Guns, which now has a dark cloud cast over it and its cast. His case serves as a grim reminder of the need to address and believe victims of abuse in adding to the bigger societal conversation on accountability and protection of the vulnerable. Hayden is serving his time and is not eligible for early release. Are there some other cases that you know about and would like to share? Talk to us in the comments and we will see you in the next one.